You are the voice of Grimace.
Yeah.
Grimace has always had a birthday.
Oh, thanks. You're not after me Lucky Charms, are you?
Nobody knows about this place. Hidden inside's a secret new taste. Marginally delicious.
Starscream, you say? Yes, leader of the Decepticons.
So crazy.
You don't fight like a Jedi.
Aye, 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 aye.
Aye, 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 aye,
Aye, aye, aye, aye.
aye. Zordon is in trouble.
That's crazy. I'm on brain rot TikTok a lot.
Oh, me too.
One TikTok trend that blew up was the Grimace McDonald's shake. You are the voice of Grimace.
Yeah.
I mean, did you hear any word from McDonald's as far as how that all blew up? Were they happy with it? Because Grimace was doing some crazy things.
You know, that had nothing to do with McDonald's directly. I can concisely say that. Their plan was to bring Grimace back for his birthday and to celebrate the character with a shake.
A purple shake, that's it.
A purple shake, that was it. And I remember when it came out, I was just so happy to go to the drive-thru and order in the character's voice and get my shake and come home and drink it, in front of all my TikTok viewers. And all of a sudden, I start getting messages. Where's my family? Why did you burn my house down? Give me my dog back. And I'm like, what? What? Did I just get canceled? Wait, what's going on? And so I then was clued in as to what was going on. And it was because it went viral. Somebody decided somehow that they were going to pour the shake all over themselves and pretend they were dead. And it was Grimace's fault. And it just took off. It took off. And you can't plan those kinds of things when something hits the zeitgeist like that. It was a cultural phenomenon, and it was all over the news, and I was happy to ride the wave on my TikTok, being in that moment with the character, and so it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And McDonald's, let's be clear, they made a lot of money. Good for them. Good for you guys.
Hopping between different franchises like Disney, McDonald's, how do you get the role for Grimace? Where do you find that audition?
Through my agents. So I get voiceover auditions through my amazing agents at CESD. Thank you. I love you. You audition like a job. That is my job, is to audition.
Are there multiple
all day,
callbacks?
every day? Sometimes you book directly. Sometimes they need to hear a little more, or they need to, find some chemistry. But in the case of Grimace, I was booked for a Super Bowl commercial. I want to say like 3 or 4 years ago. It was the commercial where everybody's in front of the menu going, "Can I get and then Grimace is there going, and then you see these two sandwiches in a thought bubble going, "Pick me, no, pick me." And so I was cast to do that. They asked for classic Grimace, and so I did that audition and sent it off, and I booked it directly. And interesting story of how things turned out. I'm watching the Super Bowl commercial. I told my whole family. I've got the pop figure of Grimace. I'm just like, "Eee, goody! Like, this is amazing. I can't wait for it to happen." And I watched the commercial, and I'm like, "That's not me. That's not me going, that sounds different. What's going on? What's going on?" All over the news. Ryan Reynolds voices Grimace from McDonald's. And I went, "No! No! Mr. Reynolds, don't you have enough, sir? Oh, I'm not buying your gin anymore." So it was a thing. They kept me as the voices of the sandwiches, but I was a little saddened by that. And so the following year, McDonald's called me back and said, "Hey, we've got this campaign for you for the Grimace Shake." And I went, "Yay! Thank you. Awesome." So
what does Grimace sound like? Is that a voice match? Are you doing something new for this Grimace this year?
So initially, I think they wanted to reinvent the character a little bit, because classic Grimace kind of sounded like Barney Rubble from the Flintstones.
And
hey, how's it going? Even has the same laugh.
Same voice actor too, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Oh.
And Frank Welker was one of the voices. I think there's been 4 of us, including Kevin Michael Richardson, who have voiced Grimace over the years. He's in his 60s, if I'm... No, he's in his late 50s. I try to get him right. Lucky the Leprechaun is in his late 50s as well.
Who you've also voiced. We'll get
who
into
I've
that.
also voiced. He's magically delicious. But yeah, yeah, he's an old feller, but he's been around for a while. He was primarily voiced, I want to say, like 70s, 80s, 90s, and then McDonald's kind of did away with the mascots for a while. And so there's a whole generation that's grown up not really knowing who they are or what they even sound like. So I very often get, I didn't even know Grimace spoke. And that hurts my heart because I remember.
Yeah.
I remember back when he was the evil Grimace. He had 4 arms and he would steal milkshakes and sodas.
So he was always the
from Ronald.
milkshake guy.
He kind of was. He kind of was. And then they revamped the character. They cut off 2 of his arms and they made him just Grimace. And he was much more lovable. And so, yeah, that's who he remains to this day.
Let's hop over to one of my favorite cereals, Lucky Charms.
Ah, my goodness. You're not after me, Lucky Charms, are you? He is. He's after me, Lucky Charms.
You're the voice of Lucky the Leprechaun.
I am one of the voices, yes.
So how does that work for that? Just another random audition?
It's another random audition. Now, Lucky was one of the first gigs that I booked in Los Angeles at a time when I was kind of trying to phase out my day job, or I should say night job. I had this feeling in the pit of my stomach that it was time to move on because I had slowly started to book some work through my agent. And, you know, the question is always, do I renege my health benefits and a steady paycheck and live this creative lifestyle that I set out to do when I moved out here? Or do I stay in the comfort and safety of this regular job? And I had started booking and my gut was telling me it's time. You've been with Target for 10 years. Thank you, Target. You were wonderful to work for. But yeah, it was time to move on. And so I quit my job. The day that I said my goodbyes and I'm driving off the parking lot at 8 a.m, my agent calls and says, you booked Lucky. And so the irony of the fact that Lucky is his name was not lost on me. I was like, I got lucky. Oh my gosh, I feel lucky. Like, this is incredible that I made this decision and in essence feeling rewarded for it. Right. So follow your dreams wherever they may take you because you will find those moments and it's so rewarding.
Has Lucky had more than just commercials? Has he ever been in TV shows? Or video games?
Video games, I feel like that's correct, but I'm not 100% sure. From my perspective, just the commercials.
And that's what you voiced?
Yeah, I voiced Lucky from 2015 to 2017, and it was amazing. They had asked me to voice match an actor named Doug Prees, who I think was the longest running voice of Lucky the Leprechaun. It was Arthur Anderson and him, and then I think there's been at least a dozen of us. You've had Eric Bauza on, and he's one of the voices of Lucky. And so, yeah, I'm in great company. But yeah, my turn at the character, it was to emulate Doug Prees. And Doug had such an amazing voice. He was just magical and soft, and that was, you know, comforting to me as a kid. So yeah.
How does the pay scale work for a voice actor in a commercial? Does the longer the commercial run, do you get residuals for that?
No, it really depends on what it is and where it's being aired. I don't know the specifics. I mean, I made some money doing Lucky, but at the time I wasn't particularly familiar with how the markets worked. As opposed to like Grimace, you know, which has like a national campaign for Minecraft. Recently they had a Minecraft Happy Meal campaign. You know, that went far and wide and international as well. So that was awesome. I wasn't going to complain.
Oh, so the bigger the campaign, the more
the
for
bigger the
voice
campaign.
actor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, how cool.
Absolutely. Sometimes things are just on radio. Sometimes things are internet exclusive. Sometimes things are on TV. All of those have different like contracts and things associated with them, which I am not privy to.
So you've done Grimace.
I just do the voices.
You've done Grimace for the milkshake campaign and the Minecraft campaign.
Correct.
Wow.
And the Super Bowl commercial, but that didn't pan out.
Freaking Ryan Reynolds. Freaking Ryan Reynolds. You also do one.
I like to say it was Green Lantern Ryan Reynolds who stymied me.
Oh,
Not Deadpool Ryan Reynolds. We love him.
Is winning an Emmy for Donald Duck the highest, most prestigious thing that you could possibly get for him?
I mean, that has been discovered up to this point. Maybe an Oscar, maybe a Tony. I don't know. Could Donald get the EGOT?
It's possible.
If he did, I would say he got it. It's the Emmy was incredible. That was a huge duck feather in my cap, and I was forever changed. I really was. It was such a huge honor to be mentioned by my peers and to be honored in that way and to honor the legacy of the character, starting all the way from Clarence Ducky Nash in 1934, which, by the way, we're recording this today on June 9th, which is Donald Duck's 91st birthday.
And you started doing
Happy birthday, Donald.
You started doing him at his 87th, and you were only the third person to ever do him. Is that like mind-blowing? When did you audition for it? It's so crazy to me.
Yeah, it's still crazy to me too. Yes, I auditioned for it. This was right after I moved to LA in 2014. I was just kind of getting my lay of the land. I was working overnights at Target, which was my day job, or night job, I should say, at the time. And my agent called and said, "Hey, you do the Donald voice, right?" And I went, "Yeah." And she says, "Okay, well, there's an audition for you." And I went, "No way. Like those roles are like Supreme Court nominations. Like you're in for life." And so I took it as seriously as I could. But I will tell you this, going from an impression that I would do to make friends and family laugh, it was very different getting right in front of the microphone because it hears every mouth noise, every gurgle, stomach gurgle, click, and everything. And so I had to kind of adjust for the microphone, but I found the balance, and they were looking for Clarence Ducky Nash specifically, his sound, and so that's what I gave him. And Clarence does sound different than how I sound. So when ultimately everything happened, production wanted me to pitch the sound up slightly and to be able to enunciate a little bit clearer, which was not precedented for the character. Usually it's, the shtick is, what'd he say? What'd he say?
Yeah, because Donald, you're not really supposed to understand.
Yeah, it's kind of this funny balance. And so classic Donald, it's a whole thing. And so for me, they're like, no, enunciate. Hey, what's your big idea, you big baruka? So I can do, different versions of the character, but that was a challenge. That was a real challenge initially going into it. And of course, I'm like, Disney's calling. What? I'm new to Los Angeles. This is my dream to be a voice actor. And so to just be in the room was incredible.
Is there strain on the voice when you do it? Because I don't even know how to start with that.
Now, I have to pause you for a second. You didn't tell me, Joe, how attractive your listeners and viewers are. Oh my gosh.
They're
you guys.
Huh?
Wow. Call me. Anyways, I'm sorry.
So the Donald Duck voice is it raspy, or where do you reach into it?
Yeah, it's so the technical term is buccal speech. Buccal as in the buccal tooth, because there's a pocket of air that resides there where the sound is. And so the key is to be able to find the right amount of pressure, to be able to use that pocket of air, and then to enunciate with the front of the mouth, hard consonants with the back of the throat. So it's a multi-step trick, essentially, to make the sound.
Feel free to break out to
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry.
How
I gotta show the goods.
do you remember the audition for Donald Duck?
I do.
How many people are you up against? Where is this?
So the callback, I auditioned and I sent it out into the ether, and it was probably like a month later that I heard. And of course, like the first few days, I'm like, oh my gosh, I still can't sleep. This is incredible. And I get to Disney TV animation for the callback, and it is a room full of voiceover celebrities, my idols, people that I just couldn't believe I was sitting across from. Again, I'm still fresh to LA trying to be a voice actor, and here I am, and it's like, wow, I made it. I did it. The thing that I scraped and saved for and sacrificed for, I'm here. I'm in the room. Don't screw it up, Daniel. And so, I mean, look, I was thoroughly intimidated. There were some incredible people there. Folks like Fred Tatasciore, Kevin Michael Richardson, James Marsden, other people I highly respect in this industry.
Are all these people going for Donald?
Yeah, they all can do Donald. And Fred Tatasciore does a really great Donald, who anytime I see him, we like to quack at each other. But I walked into that room and I went, oh, there's no way. There's no way I'm going to get this. There's just no way way it's going to happen. And so it was my turn, and, all the butterflies in my stomach are going crazy, and I walk into the booth, and on the other side of the glass, there's I want to say 30 people, production people, and they're all staring at me, Some of them are kind of a little distant because they've been doing it all day. They're scribbling in their books or notebooks. And my voice director, who at the time was Sam Riegel, the director of DuckTales, he was giving me instruction on what to do and what to say, and it was an incredible experience. There was a point they were asking me to say different words, like ridiculous. Can you say ridiculous? Yeah. Ridiculous. Okay, cool. Can you say this word? Can you say that word? And I had this feeling welling in the pit of my stomach that said, make a suggestion. Make a suggestion. And I went, could I make a suggestion? I'm like, oh gosh, I spoke out of turn. Oh my God, I said words that I shouldn't have said. And they said, sure, what do you got? And I went, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And all of a sudden, the energy in the room changed. It was palpable. Everybody stopped, doodling in their notebooks and started looking up and talking to each other. And I thought, oh gosh, I screwed it up. I said the wrong thing. But as it turns out, that was the moment they knew. As the producers later told me, that was the moment they knew that they had found the person they were looking for. Wow. I didn't know it at the time. I thought, oh gosh, maybe they're ordering lunch. Something terrible happened, but no, it turns out that was the kicker. So there was another call back. I had to sing in character. And then they called one day and they changed my life forever. And they said, you got it.
What's singing as Donald Duck like?
It's not easy. But I discovered, I can do some vibrato in character. So I certainly used that in the audition. I don't even recall what we sang at this point. It's been so many years. But I rehearsed, I watched over 80 plus years of Donald content to try to find that connective tissue and sounds and what he would sound like. Because really the only thing I had up to that point was the connection between me and my mom, Mama Duck, Michelle, who taught me how to do the voice when I was 3. And so that was something that I brought into the auditions and the callbacks, and I would call her and ask for advice, and we would quack at each other. And so one day they called and said, you got it. And she was the first person I called.
So crazy.
Now, mind you, she had just been in remission from breast cancer. And so that news not only changed my life, but it changed her life for the better too. So I got to fly her out to California, take her to Disney Studios, go see the handprints, and see where they actually make the animation. And it brought that sparkle back to her eye, which was so special for both of us.
She must have been so proud.
She really was.
Is that audition taking place at Disney Studios?
The audition was at Disney TV Animation.
Is that where it says animation on the front?
No, it's a separate entity. I think they're in Glendale, I want to say. They're in Glendale. So the studios were a separate entity. And I think even Disney Character Voices is not on the Disney lot itself. Oh. That's just the production. So
when you're doing the Donald Duck voice for TV shows, are you in the booth with the other characters as well at the same time?
No.
Are there group recordings happening?
I wish. No. I wish. That would be so much fun. No, I think just due to scheduling and shenanigans, they've just started to schedule people individually. Because a lot of the main cast is in a bunch of other things. You've got, Jim Cummings and Bill Farmer, Russi Taylor at the time, Brett Iwan. And so everybody's got diverging schedules. And if you get everybody in the same room, we're going to be cracking jokes. We're going to be having fun. And there was only one occasion where we did a group read, and it was purely by accident. It was myself and Brett Iwan, the voice of Mickey Mouse. And something happened scheduling-wise, and we both showed up at the same time. So they put together a booth with 2 microphones, and it was so perfect because it was a buddy-buddy episode between Donald and Mickey. And so we got to do it right across from each other, and it was delightful. And I could hear the difference in the performances and the connectivity, the friendship between the characters. It was so vibrant and present. So I wish we could have done more, but no, it was all separate. We would see each other in passing, or, I'd be fortunate to sit in on a session and like see Jim Cummings do his thing, or Bill or Rusey. That was just such a delight.
So do Donald and Goofy ever run into each other and do the voices back and forth?
Absolutely. I see Bill at cons. I see him in real life, at personal things. He is just one of the most delightful human beings you will ever meet. I always say one of the most amicable human beings ever. Just so delightful and so present and lovely. Yeah, I love Bill to pieces.
When you're recording the voice for Donald for a Disney short and you have to talk to Mickey, is the vocal director in the booth doing an impression of Mickey, or are you just listening to the voice?
Sometimes. So my voice director was primarily Kelly Ward, who's been doing Disney for years, and he is so well ingrained into the characters and the world that he was really able to guide me effectively. But there would be an occasion where he might slip into a little falsetto, or you could hear a little Goofy-esque, or something, or he might put on a little Pete, as Jim Cummings. Oh, hey there, quackers, and that was delightful. But most of the time, I would have reference of what the other voice actors had done. So they come in and do their sessions, and then if I needed to respond to them in a specific way, then they might play me some reference, and then I could just go.
Right.
But a lot of the times it was just kind of in the dark. And here's the thing. Once you're doing, I would say, like a preschool show for a long period of time, you get a sense of what the cadence and the rhythm is and what's going on in the world and what the stakes are. So you can kind of make a good estimated guess as to what the other character's going to sound like, especially when you've been doing it for years. You just kind of know, like, oh, that's what Mickey's going to sound like. This is how, Minnie's going to respond or whatever. So, yeah.
Are you the voice? Is your voice at any of the Disney parks?
No, I wish it was, but no, I haven't had that honor at this point yet.
When you're doing a character for multiple episodes of TV, do they have you record for a certain amount of hours, and however many episodes you run through, that's what it is? Or do they hire you for 2 episodes for the session and that's it?
No, so with my recordings, I would go in for, 2-3 hours, sometimes even an hour, or even like half an hour if it was needed. And they would give you a bunch of scripts. I would say no more than like 4.
Is that 4 episodes?
Yeah, like 4 episodes, because Donald may only have like 1 or 2 lines, in an episode of something. So, all right, we're going to knock this one out. We'll go on to the next one. Or, we'll start with ADR. So a dialogue replacement for a previous episode. Like, oh, the writers changed this, so we need to do this, a couple of lines for this first, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of the other episodes. But yeah, there were some days where we just had so much work to do, and early in the process, I almost injured myself. I was so dedicated to doing the voice as best as I could and not saying no. That was my goal. I never want to say no. If they want me to say something, I'm going to say yes. If they need me to do something a certain way, I'm going to say yes. So it got to a point where Donald had like monologues of dialogue in some episodes, and one in particular, my tongue swelled up and my cheek started bleeding a little bit. And so Kelly pushes the button. He's like, Daniel, are you cool to go on? And I'm like, yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. Let's keep on going. It's going to be great. We're going to get it done. It's going to be good. And it's like, actually, I think we should wrap. And I'm like, oh, no, it's okay. I'm fine. But, I learned my limits at that point, because it's like working a muscle. Eventually, you're going to get tired. And so I have lots of endurance as the duck, but there is a limit to everything. So I learned it. It was a learning process the whole way through.
One of my other favorite, I guess, franchises, but Gremlins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the first DVDs I ever got when I was a kid.
Oh, my gosh.
And you voiced Gizmo.
Gizmo!
Wait.
Now, I'm not the original voice. That was Howie Mandel.
In
the movie, and most recently, A.J. Locascio in Secrets of the Mogwai. I worked on a video game called Multiverses, which just recently shut down. I was so sad.
Oh, no.
But yes, I voiced Gizmo, and I voiced Stripe, his nemesis, Yum Yum, and the Brain Gremlin from Gremlins 2. Friend, what we want is what you have. Civilization. Even sang New York, New York. It was so much fun. But so I voiced those Gremlins characters, and it was a challenge and a delight because Gizmo has not been in a fighting game before where he's throwing haymakers and kicking and punching and dying. And so there was a lot of unprecedented sounds that we had to kind of figure out as we were going. And that was really cool. Can
you elaborate more on that of figuring out the different sounds for a video game? Because he's getting kicked and punched, and like, what's it sound like being punched in the head versus punched in the stomach?
Right. It's anyone's guess. So the only thing that I could do was go back and watch the movies. I think there was a Lego Dimensions video game where Howie reprised Gizmo. And so that was the only thing that I could work with. Because for me, it's very important to find the base of the character, find what their reality is, what their truth is. And remembering it's not about me, it's about what the fans want to hear. So they don't want to hear an interpretation of the character, they want to hear the character. And so I put all of my energy into emulating as best as I can. And so for me, that means doing some homework. And there really was not much. I mean, Gizmo goes Rambo in Gremlins 2. And, he's throwing some arrows and stuff. And there's some things where he's like being flung or, he goes in an opposite direction like, yeah! Or stuff like that. But then it's like, okay, well, he's throwing a kick. What does that sound like? Yeah! Oh! Maybe there's a laugh in there. Maybe he delights in inflicting pain. I don't know. But that was all what we figured out in the session. And it was organic. And I just had to kind of let go. I had to let go of the control of saying it has to sound like this, this, or this, and say, all right, this is where the character's going, and so let's have fun with it.
So for a video game, is there a script, and then you kind of have some time to just do random sound effects that they might use?
There were many times I insisted. I would say, could we pause? Could I add something here? Could I try this? There were lots of opportunities, and thankfully the team at Player First Games, Multiverses, Warner Brothers, they were very accepting of anything that I could give them. And so there was a lot of fan service. There were a lot of things that I tried to like squeeze in there, like when Gizmo sings, I know they pitched Howie in a certain way, but for me it was so like I would try to give that to them and they're like, yes, more please. So that was a lot of fun. I really appreciated that.
Do you like doing video games over television shows?
I go where they pay me. Monies, cold hard cash. That is what I like. I do whatever. There's really nothing that I set a limit to. I just love doing what I do. Being a voice actor, being a performer is one of the greatest things that I've ever accomplished. And it's not something I take lightly or take for granted. I am grateful every day I can wake up and have an opportunity to do this and to be surrounded by other people who have the same ambitions and who think the same way about these amazing cartoon characters. Like my peers are one of the reasons I wanted to be a voice actor, because it was like I found my tribe. I found people who were quirky and strange and, love the things that they do and love to hold that safe space, where cartoons live when you're a kid. And then you grow up and you're an adult and like sometimes those things go away, but you watch those cartoons and you're instantly transported back. And especially when you meet the voice actors and you hear them do the voice. I watch people devolve into their younger selves in front of me. And that is just something I never anticipated until I met other voice actors and did it myself and went, oh my, I feel like a kid again. Like I'm 6 years old watching, Saturday morning cartoons, eating my Lucky Charms. That's an incredible superpower. So I love what I do.
Speaking of co-stars, maybe you didn't record with them, but is there someone that you shared the screen with that you were such a fan of that you couldn't believe that you were voicing this one character and they were alongside of you?
I mean, again, group sessions are very rare these days. But yeah, during my time voicing Donald, again, meeting Bill Farmer, Jim Cummings, Russi Taylor, so many incredible people, D. Bradley Baker, the list could go on and on. Frank Welker. Oh my gosh, when I met Frank for the first time, that was incredible. Corey Burton. Yeah, I could just keep spouting names. Every time I'd meet somebody, it was a connection to a younger version of myself, listening to them doing the characters I loved. And for Jim, who I recently did his podcast as well, hearing him do Darkwing Duck or Winnie the Pooh or anything like that, that was just... It was surreal. It was surreal. Like, you're one human being and that's all coming out of you. I'm just in such amazement. But to cross paths with these titans of this industry and just share my gratitude for what they've done, not just for me, but for generations of people, to offer that solace, that we all need when we tune into cartoons and entertainment. We need that. That is foundational to who we are as human beings. So to meet those people who do that and facilitate that blows my mind.
Who is your favorite character that Jim Cummings has voiced?
Oh, my goodness. Well, Jim, I think my favorite character that you voiced is you. My favorite Jim Cummings. I just can't. I mean, Taz.
Yeah?
Maybe Taz. It's just pure chaos.
So when you see him doing it, are you just mind blown?
Always, because when he performs, he animates himself in such a unique way, and with Taz, it's effortless. When I do Taz, I have to, and he just kind of does it, like there's nothing going on. It's just a secondary thing he does, and I'm like, wow, how do you do that? It's incredible. Yeah. But yeah, his range is, oh my goodness.
When you see Bill Farmer do Goofy, what is that like for you?
I have gotten to know Bill as a human being, and I love who he is. He and his wife, Jen, are amazing, kind people who also very much love the people in the community, the Disney folks, the Disney adults. Anyone who comes up to meet Bill, he is the same person, both behind the microphone and in person. He's just delightful. So yeah, I love Bill. Getting to work with him is extraordinary. There's no ego there. He's just a sweet, personable human being. He, and also I would shout out Rob Paulson, very much the same. I see him. I've seen him many times in person and on camera and in interviews. He's just a delight. He's one of the warmest human beings you'll ever meet, and he's the same in front of the microphone and in front of people. And so I aspire to be like those individuals.
Let's hop over to another giant, Activision.
Oh, okay.
Let's take me back to the time with Transformers. How do you get that voice for Starscream?
Starscream, you say? Yes, leader of the Decepticons.
So crazy.
So I am a huge Transformers fan. I have Cybertronian ink on me, and I have a collection that is great for my dating life. It's that is one of the things. I think Transformers the movie was the first movie I ever saw in the theaters. My dad took me on my 6th birthday, because it was 1986 that it premiered, and I was enamored from day one. I had to have the toys. I had to watch the show. It is a fundamental part of who I am and how I grew up in commercialism and, classic Saturday morning cartoons. I had to collect them all. And so I've loved those characters ever since I was a little kid. And so when I heard that Michael Bay and Steven Spielberg were planning to make a live action Transformers movie, I was like, why not me? Why not me? I want to be a part of that.
Were you always doing the voice at that time?
I had been doing impressions of the characters for years, the Looney Tunes, Disney characters, commercials. I was just a voice box. I was like a parrot. And so when I heard that, I was like, I need to find a way to be a part of this. And so I was very active on Transformers messaging boards, especially allspark.com. Shout out to my peeps there. And I campaigned to try to get an audition. And that included creating a comic book with the help of some of my artist friends, Winston Berlin, Jake Eisenberg, even my mom helped out, several others helped me create a comic book to send to Steven Spielberg and Michael Bay, featuring a story with myself and the Transformers, where my voice was the only thing that could save the day from the Decepticons. It was very cheeky, but it got the message across. And so I sent that along, and I got an audition. I didn't have an agent at the time. I didn't have any fancy agents.
So did Michael Bay see it?
Yeah, he saw it, and the team saw it, and they said, sure, give him an audition.
And did you specifically go out for Starscream?
No. Now, Starscream initially did not have any lines. The Decepticons didn't speak other than Megatron. That was the original concept, at least from what I had heard. And so I auditioned for Ironhide, Ratchet, and Jazz for the movie. Those were the only roles available. And then later on, Activision contacted me and said, do you want to audition for Starscream and a couple others? And I went, yes, I would. Please and thank you. And so, I sent in an audition for those characters, and they booked me as Starscream, which I didn't realize was the lead villain of the games, at least for the time. And so that completely changed my life. I was doing on-camera work. I was a professional extra and stand-in doing independent features in the DC Baltimore area. And that was my very first professional voiceover gig. And so it completely changed my life. And I realized I want to do this. I really want to do this. This was so much fun. A little scary because we had to reinvent the voice. The original Starscream was voiced by Chris Latta from Generation 1. And he was like, Decepticons, retreat! He was very screechy and high up there. And they wanted something demonic that would scare the kids. And so I went with a voice that was kind of like this. And they're like, perfect, that's what we want. And I get to the session on my day. Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed, is my voice director. Oh my gosh. I had just finished watching the Rocky movies for the first time in my life, and he's my voice director. And I'm like, what is life? And he basically said, no, we just want a light British accent. I said, you want Starscream to sound like this? Yeah, that's what we want. And I went, no, please don't fire me, but no, I can't do that. And they said, what do you got? And I went, Decepticons, this is Starscream. That's just what I decided. And they said, okay, cool, that's what it is. And then here we are. And then, of course, Charlie Adler was cast as Starscream for the movies. I was very jealous, but he is incredible. And that was history, man.
Can you take me through workshopping the voice for a video game character? How do you land on that? Are you practicing in the mirror a million times until you're finally comfortable? Like, this is it.
I can't do it in front of the mirror because I don't want to look at myself while I'm doing it because I make all kinds of weird faces. And then I'm like, I didn't like that. That's not very unattractive. But you can't worry about that. I would mostly, again, because I like to mimic and I like to set precedent of what happened before, I was taking Chris Latta into, full account. The only other voice that was close to me of what I would want to do was Alec Willow's take as Tarantulas in Beast Wars Transformers. And Tarantulas was kind of like this and kind of sniveling. And I loved that voice. And I'm like, what if I marry those or I find an approximation? And that's kind of where I found that placement for Starscream. But again, in the moment, that was a split-second decision. That wasn't a premeditated, like, I really thought about plan B here. I was all in on the scary, breathy, demonic voice. And when they said no, my brain glitched. And I said, well, I got to improvise. And okay, here. And that's what took.
How many days are you in the booth for the Transformers video game?
That one was, I want to say we did 3 sessions. I think it was 2 or 3 sessions, but they were full 4-hour sessions. Nonstop. And we did
3 days in a row, no breaks?
No breaks. Yeah. We just went concurrently.
Your voice isn't hoarse?
No. It worked out. Starscream is in a placement that it wasn't too difficult to manage. Now, we did all of the major efforts and like death throttles on the last session. At the very end, okay, you're being impaled from the left. Your boulder is crushing you from the right.
What does that sound like?
The piercing from the left is, and the boulder from the right is.
Incredible, truly.
Yes. And then falling off a cliff. Depending on how large the cliff is. So it depends. But no, so usually we'll leave the efforts to the end. And if there's a lot of efforts, we might break it apart into little bite-sized pieces across different sessions. But for that one, we just waited to the end. And we also had other characters to do. I voiced Hound and Mixmaster for the PlayStation Portable version of the game. And then we had the DS version of the game, the console versions, and those were all written very differently. So we recorded the console versions first, then we did the DS, and then we did the PSP.
That's so fascinating.
It was for me. That was my first lesson in doing it and what the process was.
So do you audition just for Starscream, and then they're like, hey, we have these other characters. Do you want to do them? Do you think you can come up with something on the spot? Or are you auditioning for those extra side characters as well?
Most of the time you audition for the main character and then they'll give you a couple extras and you'll workshop it in the moment. Hound, for example, was really just kind of a upwards, a lighter version of my own voice. And, Mixmaster he kind of sounded like Mike Tyson. I think Carl Weathers actually threw that out. He's like, give me some Mike Tyson. So I went with something kind of like this, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. I mean, he was a very silly character and a very large character, completely unprecedented from the original version of Mixmaster. But I've never heard that version in the game. I don't know if it even made it.
Yeah.
But we recorded it. I got paid for it, so I'll take it.
One of my favorite shows of all time. Growing up as a kid, I'll never forget watching Tom and Jerry.
Oh, yes.
What was it like being part of a show like that?
Oh, my goodness. I was through the roof. I was so excited. Anything that was a part of my childhood is a bucket list item for me. And so I booked a character named Rutger, who is a little German mouse who loves the cheeses and torturing the Katzens. He was so much fun. He was one of a trio of mice, also voiced by Chris Edgerly, who did Rudy and Rolf. And so I did Rutger, and then I would do a bunch of side characters. So like if there was an episode where Chris and I were working concurrently, he would do like 1 additional character and I would do 2 additional characters because I think the limit was like 3. And so anytime I got to voice Rutger, there were a multitude of other characters that needed voicing. There was an Igor character named Dave, and he came in and loved watching the doctor do menacing on the peoples. And there were other characters like a little ant who was complaining that her husband is watching too much. Come on, Harold, you gotta turn off the TV. Or any number of things. And I see you've got the Barney the Dinosaur plush. I'm good friends with Bob West, and there was a moment in Tom and Jerry where they wanted a TV dinosaur puppet. And so you wonder what I sounded like. Oh, boy, I love you. And I think that was my line. Who loves you? I love you. And I'm like, I can't believe I get to play in this sandbox. It was just incredible. And we worked, 3 seasons, I want to say. Yeah, 3 seasons, and then Tom and Jerry in New York, and again, just an incredible journey. And I got to reprise Rutger for years, so that was really cool.
Where is Tom and Jerry being aired now?
I believe at the time of this recording, it's called Max. It may later be HBO Max again. I don't know.
I think it is HBO Max now. They changed it back.
Oh my gosh, one of the two. Yeah, I think you can see all of them there.
Yeah, Bob West is supposed to be coming on soon.
Oh, Oh, fantastic. Tell him I said hello.
I will. The Loud House.
Yeah.
Is working on different sets like The Loud House versus Tom and Jerry versus Transformers, is there a different vibe between them, or are they all essentially the same thing? You go into a voice booth, you do the lines, and that's it?
Oh, no, totally different vibe. I mean, the work is the same, but the environment really cues you in as to what you're going to be doing. Like, does
Loud House have its own production house where there are all the arts everywhere?
I was at Nickelodeon Studios the time that I got to work on The Loud House. And so that was the same spot that I recorded Bunsen is a Beast. I believe the exact same studio in Nickelodeon. Bunsen is a Beast, The Adventures of Kid Danger. But yeah, it's a totally different vibe because you've got a different production crew. The cartoons have a different life, or a different through point than the other cartoons. So it's all a varying experience. And so that's one of the things that I love about being a voice actor is my day-to-day is completely different depending on where you're working. Yeah. And I love that variety. Viva variety.
Are you part of a Star Wars franchise?
Yes.
When is that coming out? Is that coming out this year?
It has come out. It's called Tales of the Underworld. And in the very first episode, I voice the Inquisitor, the evil Inquisitor who squares off against Asajj Ventress. Spoiler, she's back for any Star Wars fans. That was, gosh, I got to work with Dave Filoni. It was like 2.5 years that I had to wait to be able to say anything, but it finally came out, and I'm like, yes! Finally, I get to say I'm in the Star Wars universe.
Oh, because voice actors record, and then it takes forever for it to animate.
That's right. That's
wow.
right. Well, we call that prelay animation. So, you go in to do the voice, and then they animate to the voice. Other times, they'll have like scratch, like Tom and Jerry. We would have animatics, where they had already kind of sketched out the scenes, so we could see what was going on. But most of the time, you kind of have to just imagine.
Why does Tom and Jerry do that? Is that just a bonus for the voice actor?
I don't know that it's really for us in particular. I think it's just the pace and rhythm that they have to work. Renegade Animation was in charge of Tom and Jerry when I was working on it. Daryl Van Sitters, Ashley Postlewaite. So they ran Renegade Animation, and they were just constantly churning out episodes. I think they were just so popular overseas that their work schedule was nuts.
Tom and Jerry was?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so we would have the luxury of having some animatics to watch. Sometimes we would have to chase it a little bit, like you've only got 2 or 3 seconds to deliver this line before it's too late. Whereas with prelay, you can just kind of do what you need to do for the character, and then if you need to truncate, they'll give you that direction, but you've got space to breathe. For Tom and Jerry, there was really not much space to breathe. You had to fit it within a very certain time frame.
You mentioned earlier that voice actors can only do 2 or 3 additional characters at once.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a rule?
Yeah, that's in the contract. So you are contracted for the character that you voice, and then I believe it's like 2 to 3 additional characters that you can do without any additional charges taking place. Because if they go over that, if you voice more characters, they have to pay you a bump for doing that. And that's happened to me on many occasions where we've just got all these characters and you can do them, so here we go. And that's always a nice paycheck, so I appreciate it.
What's the best paycheck for a voice actor?
Oh, gosh. The best paycheck.
And I know it's a loaded question. There's so many different variables, but...
The best paycheck for a voice actor is when you're at a convention and somebody comes up to you and tells you how much your work meant to them, and you get to look them in the eyes and you get to give them a hug. That is the best paycheck that a voice actor can get. Now, listen, I am working for monies, of course. I love to get those. But at the end of the day, I revel in how much this means to certain people. And one of the things that has been very new to me, I lost my mom 3 years ago, right before the Emmy happened. And that was really hard for me. Given that she taught me how to do the voice, it's something that I still hold in my heart, and anytime I get to interact with people as Donald, there's a little piece of her that's still alive within me. And when folks come up to my table and they say, my dad does the voice, my uncle, my cousin, my brother, somebody special in their life, sometimes that person is no longer with us. And I, little old me, I get to look them in the eyes and I get to say, I have a message for you.
I love you very much.
That's all the payment I need.
That's beautiful.
It's not even payment. I mean, the vernacular is, we're playing semantics. As somebody who lost somebody very special to him, who taught him that voice, I know it. I know it inside and out. And so I love those moments, and I love being able to comfort people and understand that it really has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with that character and the fact that Donald Duck has been special for generations. Worldwide, everybody knows that character. And so if I can brighten somebody's day, that's all I need.
Is there a character that people come up to you at the cons the most for?
Oh, yeah, Donald Duck, hands down. Starscream would probably be a close second. I would say Lucky the Leprechaun, and then obviously the Gremlins characters. Those are big. Now, some recent interactions, of course, people love Star Wars, so they want to hear the Inquisitor. And I had an illustrious, I think, 3 lines as this character before he was killed off. But that was really cool. So getting to interact with a new fan base with Star Wars, and the Inquisitors have a whole group of fans. So I'm just like, hi, I'm the new guy.
You don't fight like a Jedi.
So crazy.
That's what that guy sounded like.
So he only had 3 lines for that?
Yeah, I had 3 lines.
Did you go in for a full session just to do the 3 lines?
Yeah. And Dave Filoni, he had a whole backstory, for the character, things that I won't share. I'm going to let him do that because I'm too intimidated otherwise. But, he's got a vision for the characters that he creates and that he cares for. And so that was just incredible to witness and behold and be like, oh, little old me, I get to play. This is so cool.
What's the easiest voice acting session you've ever had? Was it 1 line? Was it a sound?
Easiest one, honestly, I think it was Donald Duck. There was one session where they had to get a piece of ADR for an episode that was like right about to air. And I kid you not, I think it was just,
oh boy.
And okay, let's for the sake of paying you, let's get an A, B, and C take.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy.
All right, cool. Have a good day. All right, sweet. Thanks, guys. Yeah, probably that.
So cool.
Yeah.
Are there any characters that you know that you can do that you really want to do for a show?
I mean, yeah. It's hard for me because I'm just gonna come out and say it. The Looney Tunes are a huge bucket list item for me. I don't care if it's a character from 50, 60 years ago, some obscure character that they're bringing back. I just want to play in that sandbox so bad. But yes, I can do impressions of most of the characters. Eric Bauza does incredible. Bob Bergen, so many amazing people who do those characters. I'm not coming after their jobs. They are aptly cast. But I would say, Daffy Duck is definitely one of those top of my list. I want to have a monopoly on the ducks.
The ducks.
Hey, you're not coming after my job, are you? Yeah, that would be incredible. Also voiced by D. Bradley Baker. So, yeah, they're well spoken for.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Looney Tunes would be a lot of fun. Gosh, what else is there? I'd love to get back to Transformers at some point. Of course, it's not up to me. It's just up to the fates. And whatever luck has it.
Your Transformers are so good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
What was the StarCraft universe like?
Ooh, StarCraft was fun.
I was obsessed with the first one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I remember playing it on my PC when it first came out.
The first one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
me too.
way back in the day.
Playing live and you would do the 2 battles.
Yes! Oh, you know.
I had a record. I would start new accounts, and once I would lose, every time I would lose in the battle, I would start a new account because I want to try and have an undefeated record.
Oh my gosh.
It's such a waste of time. But I got to like 12-0.
That's wild, dude. Yeah. Wow, I was not that good. The strategy games were not my forte. I was more into like the search and explore, like Myst or The Seventh Guest. Like solve puzzles and explore. That was my jam. No threat of somebody killing you off.
Oh, I needed that.
I preferred that. But yeah, StarCraft, Andrea Toyas cast me in a very small role during a cinematic, and over the years has sprinkled me into different things. Was it Hearthstone, Diablo 4? I played the Tree of Whispers.
Who'd that sound like?
The Tree of Whispers, so there were a couple of us. I did Scratch initially, and then they kept one voice.
Elias. Oh, he's so swift. He's so nice.
It was a very creepy voice, similar to Stripe from the Gremlins. So that was just the voice that stuck, I guess. And yeah, so I've done a lot of work with Blizzard over the years, and again, just grateful to play in the sandbox. But yeah, every time I get to play in these worlds, it's just like, wow, this is neat. Yeah, I love my job.
It's so crazy. Is there any, like the rule of you can only do a couple characters at once? Are there any rules that the general public might not realize about voice actors?
Ooh,
like are sessions only a certain amount of time?
Yeah, so it's up to 4 hours that you're scheduled. Most voice sessions, I find the sweet spot is about 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. But yeah, 4 hours is what you're contracted for. And so there are days, if you're doing a video game and you've got a substantial role, you're in there for 4 hours straight. And then you got to come back, the next day or the next week or whatever it's scheduled for multiple sessions. And those could be pretty grueling. 4 hours is a lot of time, especially if you're standing up the whole time or you're playing in multiple different scenarios where like you have to change motivations of your character or intentions, or you're doing combat, or death throttles or things of that nature, call outs as we call them. It's a varying job and I enjoy it. But it can be tough.
Would you ever want to do Mortal Kombat?
Oh, of course. Oh, my gosh. Finish him. No, finish me. Put a wig on him. Some people know that reference.
Which one's that?
There was a silly video a long time ago where it's like Shao Kahn is being ridiculous and very pervy. And so he's like, Liu Kang is about to finish off like this other dude. And he's like, no, give him a sponge bath. Oh, yeah, just really get in there. He's really dirty. Now put a wig on him. It's just so weird. It's so wrong. But I love it. Yeah, Mortal Kombat would be incredible. I would love, some of my favorite characters were like Noob Saibot, Smoke. I even loved like Rain, Ermac, all the ninjas in particular. Or like Baraka. I'd love to play Baraka. I think that would be fun.
They're working on the new movie, no?
Oh yeah. There's a second Mortal Kombat movie. I think Baraka is currently voiced by Steve Blum, I want to say. I'm not 100% sure. I know he's done some of them. Oh gosh, he's another incredible talent. Another Starscream. He voiced in Transformers Prime, and one of my favorite iterations of the character. Yeah, really, really cool.
Cool. Well, I mean, this has been so incredible talking to you about everything.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you for talking to me about everything.
What else do you have coming up? Anything you can announce? I know everything's under wraps and you're not really allowed to, but is there anything you could say that you might have coming up?
The only thing I could say at this juncture is I love you so much. You guys are awesome. No, everything is under non-disclosure. I can't talk about anything except that, yes, there is stuff coming.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm actor Daniel Ross across social media. I've got a fun TikTok, Instagrammies, the Twitters, all those things. I'm on all of them.
Go see him at a con.
Go see me at a con. Yes, I'm repped by Celebworks, so reach out if you want to see me in your local town or convention. I love doing those. I love getting to meet the fans and just play and have fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast.
Cool. Okay,
and congrats on your Webby Award.
Yeah. Official honoree.
Yes. Way to go.
Cool. Thank you. Awesome. Lightweights out. That was so great.
Awesome, man.